Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's revise. So in my previous video we started with the chapter of nationalism in Europe, and where we studied about the concept of Frederick Sorio's print called as the dream of worldwide democratic and social republics. Today let us continue with the further part of the image, and let us understand what do all these different elements try to depict in the idea portrayed by Frederick Sorio. Like we have already studied the basic details of this image, which includes the name of the image that goes as the dream of worldwide democratic and social republics, which actually means an agreement between the nations. It was prepared by Frederick Sorio and in the year 1848. So this is the basic thing that we know about the image right now. Let's study furthermore what are the different elements which are used in the image and what do they symbolize over in the image put up by Frederick Sorio. So what do we see over here is the image put up over here is the first print among the four prints. He has made four prints, and among those four prints this is the first print that has been put into your textbook. So what do these ideas which are put up in this image actually try to depict is what we are going to study today. So what does this show? This shows that people of Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. So this is a very important thing. As you can see over here in this image, this is the people, the chain of people which is moving like a train. It is continuing for very far. It is coming from very far, and the line is very huge. So where are these people actually from? They are basically from two continents. One is they are from the regions of Europe, and the other continent that these people are from, America. Okay, they were considered the greatest of all. So only Europe and American continent people are over here. And who all are there in this image? There are men also, okay, and then there are women also. And these men and women are of all ages. All ages means right from an infant to a small child to an age old person. All the age group people are included. And we know that back in those days the entire society was divided into different social classes. So all those social classes people are also included in this. So there are kings, there are clergies, there are nobilities, there are peasants, there are businessmen, there are professionals. So all of them are marching like a train. You can see that these people appear like as if a train is moving over here. So that is a connection which has been made by the artist over here. What are they basically doing? They are trying to cross and they are trying to come near this statue, and this statue here is nothing but the Statue of Liberty. Okay, the statue that gives freedom to all of them. So the main aim of all these people of Europe and America are why they are marching like a train is they want to cross the statue, and as they cross the statue what are they doing? They are offering homage, and the meaning of the word homage over here means that they are offering respect to the Statue of Liberty. They are bowing in front of the Statue of Liberty because she is giving them something. Okay, the Statue of Liberty here is a female figure and she is giving them something. So in return of that, these people are offering respect to her, which is nothing but homage in front of her. Okay, so this is the first element that we actually have to concentrate. I hope so far you guys have understood what I'm trying to show over here. Okay, so that is the first part of the image. As you can see, there are people, there is Statue of Liberty, and then they are doing something in the statue of to the Statue of Liberty, that is they are offering respect, and which we basically call it as homage also. Let's see what does the Statue of Liberty actually mean, and why did this idea of having a female Statue of Liberty come into existence there. Okay, so the idea of liberty, equality, and all started from the regions of French Revolution. So when they came up with this idea during their revolution in the 1700s, they Personified means they gave a person an idea. That is personification. Attaching an idea to a living being is basically called as personification of that idea. Okay, so what did they do is they personified the idea of liberty. To whom? To a female figure. And this was not a specific any lady which lived in France. It was a general figure that existed in France, and those female figures were basically given the idea, or they were basically attached to the idea called as liberty. So the name comes as Statue of Liberty over there. Now in this image you can see the Statue of Liberty has two hands, and in both the hands she is holding something. Like you can see, she is recognized by holding the torch of enlightenment. She bears in one hand. You can see over here, this is one hand of Statue of Liberty, and in this one hand she is holding a torch, and this torch is symbolized with enlightenment. Enlightenment means knowledge. As people are crossing the Statue of Liberty, they are getting enlightened with ideas like liberty, rights, and all other things. So that torch is associated with enlightenment there. Then in the other hand you can see she's holding something else, and that is called as the Charter of Rights of Man in the other. So this is another hand which is down over here, and in this hand she is holding a Charter of Rights of Man, which is nothing but a kind of a book or a kind of a scrolling paper, which is basically called as the Charter of Rights of Man in one hand. Okay, so what is the importance of Statue of Liberty? Now as these people cross the Statue of Liberty, they are going to be enlightened citizens, and they are going to be blessed with different types of rights for existence, which they did not enjoy when the rule of the king existed over there. So this is the importance of Statue of Liberty in the image, and she plays a very important role. So this marching of long chain of people is nothing but they are under the process of struggle to achieve their rights, and that is why their main aim is to reach the Statue of Liberty. And as they get the Statue of Liberty, they'll get enlightenment, and they'll get certain basic rights for their existence. So this is another very important element of the image which has been put up by our dearest Frederick Sorio. Let's go ahead with the next element which has been put up in the image, and let's understand what do they symbolize. So in the picture you can see there is something lying down on the ground over here. Okay, there is something lying down on the ground. So what does this actually mean? So let's go and understand that. On the earth, in the foreground of the image, be the shattered remains of the symbol of absolutist institutions. So what is that representing? What is there on the foreground? Foreground is in the front of the ground in the image. What is there lying on the ground over here? It is symbolized as these are shattered remains. Shattered remains. You can see people are giving up the idea of kingdom, kingship, and all. And whatever images you can see down over here, all these images are what? These are the images that represent kingdom, rule of monarch, and all. Absolutist institutions are nothing but the institutions that were controlled by the king. They were controlled by the monarch, they were controlled by the clergy. Or now people, as they are going ahead with the idea of liberty and all, they don't want any monarch, or they don't want any saint to rule them over here. Instead they want to be ruled by themselves. Hence they are throwing what they don't want and marching with what they want in their hand. So this is the shattered remains, means broken remains of what represented the king and the kingdomship there. Okay, so that is one yet another basic aspect of what we basically call it as Sorio's imagination. See how well he had imagined, and he had put up this printing idea, and how beautifully he has put up this concept of the dream of worldwide democratic and social republics. Isn't it wonderful how this person had imagined the idea of liberty back in those days, and how he had given that this even beautiful image here. Let's further move on. In Sorio's utopian vision, The people of the world are grouped as distinct nations identified through their flags and national costumes. See, this is yet another important thing. Now, here the line clearly says in Sorio's utopian vision. Utopian means what? It is an imaginary vision, imaginary world, but it is very idealistic world also. Idealistic world means a very good world, a very nice world where there is no bad thing at all. Such a world is, or a vision is basically called as utopian vision. Now, in the present days or even back in those days, having a imaginary world which is a very good world where there no bad things happen is is very unlikely to be happening, right? So this image which has been put up by the Frederick Sorio is called as utopian vision, that it is so good that it is impossible for such a world to exist at all over here. Now you can see these people what are there in this image. All these people come from different nations. Okay, they're coming from Europe, they are from America over here, and Europe and America has been divided into multiple nations. But how do we identify that they are coming from multiple nations is, you can see that all these people are holding some kind of flags in their hand, and all these flags are basically of different colors. And that is very much important aspect of how Sorio has used his imagination, that Europe and America will be divided into multiple nations and each one of them will have their flags, they will have their costumes there, right? So that plays a very important role here. So how people are grouped into distinct nations, but how do we differentiate that they are from distinct nation is, they are holding their flags, and each of the national costumes are basically different from what one group of nation is wearing to another group of nation. That's another important and very creative way of thinking of how a world should be existing. Let's go ahead with the further part of your Sorio's print. The further part tells us which nations are going to be formed and in what order also. Like for example, you can see over here, leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland, by which by this they were already nation states. So which means what, by the time Sorio had made this print in the year 1848, before that only United States of America and Switzerland were already independent nation states, which happened in the 1700s, very close to 1800s. So by that time only they were already nation states, they already had formed themselves into countries. So we do not see the flag of USA and we do not see the flag of Switzerland in this image. Okay, so they were already nation states, they were already formed into countries. Following them are who? They are France, the people, the country of France. Now, how you can identify France? France has already crossed the Statue of Liberty. So, France is identified with their very famous flag, that is red, blue, and white color. And they are just recently, they have just recently formed into a nation state. And then to them they are followed by Germany, and Germany is identified by yet another flag color which is black, red and gold. And by this time they were still broken into small areas or small principalities which are ruled by different kings and different kingdoms. So Germany was also on its way of becoming a nation state, which we'll later on study in the chapter as we study the concept of unification of Germany. Germany is then followed by what we call it as, yeah, Germany is then followed by the people of Austria, then the kingdom of two Sicilies, then Lombardy, then Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary and Russia. So these are the series of nations that are going to be formed according to Frederick Sorio's imagination, that First USA, then Switzerland, then France, then Germany, then Austria. He had thought that one by one every nation, every kingdom is going to be divided into nation, and slowly this is the order of nations that is going to be formed over there. Now remembering this order of nations is also very much important. So for that you can just form a small line of interesting words to remember the nations. Like, you can take a screenshot of this and remember the names of nations, because it is usually asked for MCQ question, and if you make any mistake then you definitely lose your marks there. So you can write it down as: United States and Switzerland met France and Germany, visited Austria, ate pizza in the kingdom of two Sicilies and Lombardy, danced in Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and slept in Russia. I hope this small liner that I have put up for you is very easy for you to remember names of the countries. Okay, and the name of countries in the paragraph given over here, they are shattered, they are not put up together at one place. Like I told you, United States and Switzerland were already nation states, so we don't see the flag of United States and Switzerland at all. France has just become the nation state, which are followed by different countries as mentioned in the list. So now so far we have discussed about all the elements which have been put up in the image by Frederick Surya. But what we remain up with is what is there in the sky. Now see, he has done such a detailing that he has not forgotten to add some elements in the sky also. Okay, so what are these representing, and how do they symbolize this, and how do they symbolize this very concept of formation of nation state or country that we talk about? Like, take for example, he mentions that from the heavens above, Christ, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artist to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. See how creative Frederick was. Very beautifully, he has used this. He is not just building friendship and brotherhood among the living people, but among even the God also that people believed back in those days. You can see there is Christ over here. Okay, then there are saints here, there are angels over here. All of them are symbolic represents of the culture, the religion that the people were following in those days. And what are they doing? They are gazing upon the scene. What scene are they seeing over here? They're gazing upon the scene, what people are doing, what are they achieving. And this gazing is a happiness. They are achieving happiness. They are seeing that the sufferings of people under the kingdomship, under the monarchical rule is ending, and people are going to get some basic human rights, and nations are going to be the part of mankind over here. And they are very happy looking at this scene, whatever people are getting by crossing the Statue of Liberty. And these gods represent the idea. You can see here in the image also the word has been written, which is called as fraternity. Okay, fraternity is nothing but brotherhood or friendship that existed, that should exist between people, or that existed between the people over here. And the gods are used as a symbol to promote fraternity, to promote nationhood among the people that are going to be formed into countries or nations in the upcoming years. So this is about Frederick Sorio's image, and what are the different elements that Frederick Sorio represents in his uh, print of the dream of worldwide democratic and social republics. So in my next video, I'm going to post certain questions on this topic, and we'll continue with the next paragraph in the next video. That's it for this video. If you like my video, do share it with your friends. Let them also prepare very well for their examination. Like it, share it, and do not forget to subscribe it also. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.